What's up, YouTube? Brian here. Just bringing you a little video today about how I do Discus. The reason I'm making this video is because a lot of people on the internet act like keeping Discus is like some masterful feat of fish keeping and only the best, most dedicated aquarists can keep Discus or something like that. People are like, oh, I change 90% of my water every single day. You gotta keep a perfect bare bottom tank and blah 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 blah. Okay. I can only talk about my personal experience, but when I went into the Discus, I had that kind of attitude because I got it from the internet. I've been keeping these guys for months now. And when I first got them, actually, and I was doing that kind of thing, daily water changes, super meticulous about cleaning the tank, had a much more lightly stocked tank, etc. They actually got sick more. They got ick, and I was dealing with all kind of problems. Finally, I decided to just try to imitate their and ignore all the people on the internet, try to imitate their natural environment as best I could, and just let it be, you know? So now, this is a 246 liter tank. I always say it's 65 gallons. It's not exactly 65 gallons. I think it's like 66.7 or something like that. But I was just thinking, I've got 25 or so cardinal tetras in here, a dozen purple rasboras, 25 or more corridoras, 5 large discus, 7 large Congo tetras, 3 plecos, and I think that's everything, but that's like 50 fish just between the corys and the tetras. Add in the rasboras, you're already at the 1 fish per gallon, and that doesn't even count any of the big fish. And you know what I have on this tank, filtration wise? That's it. No canister, no hang-on back, no fancy bullcrap, 2 sponge filters, and they're not even that big. That's it. I took out the other filter I had in here. I realized it wasn't really doing anything. A. B. The Discus didn't like it, so they're always hiding in the back to get away from the flow. Now they chill out right there in the front, where I can see them no problem. Look how healthy they look. All their fins extended. Everybody looks great. Rasboras, I mean, this tank, nobody's got any issues whatsoever. I change water in this tank maybe once a week. Honestly, I don't even remember the last time I changed water in this tank. That's how infrequently I change water in this tank. I used to vacuum it every day with the Eheim Quick Vac. I haven't vacuumed it in I don't know how long. A week, 2 weeks. Everything's perfectly fine. Now, you may think, how is this possible? He must be lying, or something like that. I don't know. If you only believe what you've heard on the internet, I'll tell you how it's possible. This tank is like almost like a complete ecosystem in a way, in that it has so many plants growing into the water that they are just devouring the nitrates, and the plants are going gangbusters. If you go back and watch the videos of this pothos, how it's progressed just over the last 2 months or 1 month, it's insane. It's almost like doubled in size. And look how big these leaves are. Like some of these leaves are almost as big as my hand. And that alone is a huge amount of filtration. Furthermore, the way I have it set up with the roots into the tank in the back, that's a ton of surface area that's mostly in the shadow for bacteria colonies to grow on. Like that root clump right there is ultra dense. It's totally dark. That thing is swarming with beneficial bacteria, I guarantee it. On top of that, I've got all this wood in the tank, which is also growing bacteria on the bottom. And I don't really mess with my substrate that much, so I'm guessing that it also grows bacteria in the places where it's dark enough. So my point is, go with science. Don't listen to people on the internet. Like, do experimentation, watch your water parameters and use actual data to determine how you care for your fish, instead of just people's advice randomly on the internet. You don't know what they've done. Like, follow your own way. So, as I said, hardly ever do water changes on this tank. See how it's low? This mark right here on the glass is 10%. I haven't filled this tank up in, I don't know, a couple days, and usually I fill it all the way to the top, like, of this glass, so even fuller, like, than the tank is really supposed to be. And every couple days it gets drained like that. I just put more water in. That is the power of the pothos. The power of creating a realistic type ecosystem in your tank, instead of just running a bare-bottomed glass box full of water. Like, the cories grind up any waste on the bottom. I don't have a lot of flow in this tank, but honestly they eat all the discus poop, grind it up into little tiny particles. I haven't cleaned these sponge filters since I put them in, like, back in September. It's the beginning of December now. I haven't touched them. They're still running fine. I mean, flow's going through them. It's that simple. I do have this wave maker back here, but I don't have it on, and honestly I've only turned it on a couple times. I was just experimenting with it to see what would happen. I'm probably going to take it out of there soon. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So yeah, I mean, when you're keeping quote-unquote difficult fish, or people say, oh, you can't put this and that together, whatever, this is how I think about it. First of all, find out the actual requirements of the fish biologically. Try to meet those, and then take it slow. Like, don't get a ton of fish all at once. Build up slowly, and make sure your tank is, well established and all that stuff. And then just maintain the fish requirements. And how you figure out how to do that is not based off advice on the internet. It's based off testing your water, making sure your water parameters stay stable, and feeding your fish a good diet. And that's pretty much all you gotta do. Now, I'm saying, oh, I don't do water changes, because I have so many plants in here. If I didn't have these plants in here drinking up all the water, pulling out all the nitrite and nitrate, I would have to do more water changes in this tank. I'm not saying that you can just keep discus with hardly any filtration in a heavily stocked tank and, everything will be fine if you don't have some kind of system. But what I am saying is, it's not as hard as people make it out to be, and that you should use experimentation and data to construct your fish keeping plan, not someone else's ideas. So yeah, more than 65-gallon tank, 80 fish or something in here right now. Water changes maybe every 2 weeks, like 30%. 2 small sponge filters, that's it. Everything's awesome. I do also have the advantage of having very soft acidic water, which is good for a lot of these fish. So that's another thing. Don't keep fish that don't go with your water or whatever. But like I said, if you match the parameters of your fish, you don't ridiculously overfeed your tank, and you get a good ecosystem going on, then you're not going to have any issues. I'm thinking about reintroducing some snails to this tank too, because they all died off in the snail apocalypse a couple months ago. But since I'm moving soon, I think I might just wait till after I move, because I'm going to have to rescape this tank anyway. And then I'll probably get some snails that I haven't tried before, like some ram's horns or something like that. Anyway, this video is getting kind of long. I hate it when people just make super long videos with no point. So that's where I'm going to cut it off. Filtration doesn't need to be complicated. You don't have to over-filter your water. You don't have to over-change your water. Most of the time your fish are going to just be chill the way they are. They don't like changes, actually. And every time you change something, they have to get used to it. So just get your parameters where they need to be and just monitor them and do the minimum you need to do to keep them there. That's my advice to new fish keepers or people keeping new species. Thanks for watching, guys.